Hi, my name is Antony. I'm from South Florida, more specifically Miami, and I do freelance videography. So I do different types of videos, but for the most part I do wedding videos. About 80% of my work is wedding videos. In the past year I've done 40 weddings, so most of them I was the first shooter. I'd say about 75% I was the first shooter. And if you had asked me a year ago, I had actually only shot one wedding, and it was assisting someone. So I don't like to label myself as a wedding videographer because, I'm actually not a huge fan of it. It's very close to doing documentary type work like you do. So it allows me to travel to different parts of Miami, going to the beaches, or just really nice places, and getting to experience that. So I like to travel. I don't get to travel far very often, and I would love to be able to do that for work, and I think this is a very good starting point. And this opportunity that you're offering seems like a great way to go. I love your content. Your content is really good, not just your videos, but also the blog. I like what you do. The camera I'm using right now is a GH4, and based on your blog post, I actually ended up going, and also of course my own opinion and a few other people's opinions, as you always say, to look around. I ended up going with the BMCC speed booster for Nikon. And that was way back when the GH4 first came out. So more recently I've picked up an EF speed booster so I can use my 70-200 2.8 from Canon. And it's worked out pretty nicely. Works well for my budget. But I've also worked with cameras like the A7S and the FS7. This weekend I'll actually be shooting a wedding with the FS7. I've reverted back to second shooting more recently because I want to learn more. I see the value in working for others. I've learned a lot in the past year and gotten a lot better from shooting weddings, but I know really when working for other people is when you catch things that you don't realize, or they teach you things that you never would have recognized. So yeah, and also at the same time I'm getting to use an FS7 this weekend because the person uses that camera. On top of that, I've used a Movi in the past. A very good friend of mine has a Movi, and we used it at a wedding of mine, or actually of his. And yeah, so I have experience with those. I would love to use them even more. If I got this opportunity, I'm sure I would go in, and they've offered to let me use it just on random days of the week, and I would go in and I would take advantage of that. I would learn them to the best of my ability and make sure I'm well prepared, even if I'm not going to be using the camera that much with you. So something you'll recognize about me, if you get to know me, is I do work a lot, a little bit obsessively. I always tell myself it'll be worth it. So most of the time I'm enjoying myself, I'm having fun with it, and still making good content. But at the same time, as you know, there's times where it's very challenging, and you may not want to take the extra step. But I always tell myself it's going to be worth it, and the final results, they're always very satisfying for me, taking that extra step, and that's what convinces me and motivates me to keep taking those extra steps in the future. So I love the idea of storytelling. I love the idea of sharing different people's ideas and perspectives, and that's why documentaries really caught on with me. That's what I want to do with cinema. I love it because it's talking about the visual side. Just it's such a ridiculous standard, but it's almost depressing watching it. But I watch it just in amazement and try and take away something. I'm always analyzing films when I'm watching them from the technical side. I love working with the camera, but I understand having to be a one-man band at times, or two people. I've done a lot of interviews with people in terms of I worked for a commercial video type business before, and I was required to interview different types of people every other week. So it could be someone from like a firefighter to a chef. And I worked in different environments and with different kinds of people, and I learned what are good questions to ask, what are not good questions to ask, how to make people feel more comfortable in front of the camera. And yeah, I've taken away a lot from that, and just with each video I try and make it a little bit better, and it's paid off. It's really showed. So I feel like I definitely have the experience in the technical side with equipment, but I do want to make sure I use the cameras even more if you decide to go with me. So I'll go meet up with my friend that has the FS7, my other friend that's using the A7S, and I'll also go to my friend that has the Movi, all three separate people. And you know, they offer all the time. I don't take it up as much as I should, but for this, I absolutely will. Again, I think your content's great. I think what you're doing with your blog is really generous of you. You know, obviously you enjoy it, and I can see it in your work and what you share. So I would love to have this opportunity to work with you and travel. It's everything that I want to do, and if you pick me, just, you know, feel free to email me back. I'd love to hear back from you, even if you decide not to go with me. I know you've worked on some other stuff down here in South Florida before, in the Keys or Everglades or even Miami Beach. And I think I applied 2 other times for things that you've done. But if I don't get accepted this time, I'm still going to try again next time. But hopefully, eventually you'll decide to go with me. So that's basically it. Again, glad that you could watch this. Hopefully you liked it. And I hope to hear back from you soon.